I see this question lingering a lot. Should I neuter my dog or should I spay my dog? Will this solve all the behavioral problems that I'm dealing with? Well, keep watching this video. I'm gonna go over just that, the pros and cons of neutering or spaying your dog, and what to expect when you decide to do this procedure. Now, there's a lot of myths around neutering or spaying your dog. There's aggressive dogs out there, and they think neutering or spaying their dog is going to be the end-all, be-all solution to all their problems when it comes to training their dog or just getting rid of behavioral problems. Today, I'm going to talk about if neutering is the solution and what to expect. Neutering is the desex procedure of male dogs where their testicles are removed. The actual removal of male dogs' testicles is called castration. Now, what is spaying? Spaying is a similar procedure of sterilization for female dogs. In this case, a female's dog's ovaries and uterus are removed. It's called ovariohysterectomy. Even though terms neutering and spaying are used in veterinary medicine, most often the term neuter will refer to the removal of reproductive organs in the dog for both sexes. Neutering doesn't necessarily mean that it applies to male dogs alone. Now, there are some risks of neutering that you got to be aware of, okay? Neutering a male dog is not the end-all, be-all correcting of behavioral problems. As the pet owner, it's your responsibility to ensure training is kept up and consistent and that your dog is otherwise kept healthy. When making the decision to neutering your pit bull, it is important to be aware of the potential risks. There could be some surgical complications. Although very rare, urinary tract cancer appears to be increased in neuter dogs. Some studies show increased risk of osteosarcoma when neutering before the age of 1. Hypothyroidism appears 3 times more often in neuter dogs than unneutered dogs. The potential medical risks mentioned here are not 100% proven. These are studies that you may want to consider though. Now I want to go over some pros of neutering your dog. This doesn't apply to all dogs because every dog is different. So a pro is it reduces the risk of prostate and cancer problems. Dogs that are neutered no longer have the risk of suffering from testicular cancer, a common form of cancer in dogs later in life. Other common issues such as infections or cysts are reduced as well. About 4 of every 5 dogs that are neutered will suffer from an enlarged prostate by the age of 5, which can make it difficult for them to urinate. That issue goes away as well. It can reduce marking and spraying issues. The removal of the testicles changes the hormonal balance that is within the male dog. Less testosterone is present, which means there is less desire to mark the territory. There could be fewer spraying issues around the house as well. Now, it stabilizes the mood of the dog. Dogs are naturally protective of their territory. They will guard it against any unfriendly visitor. Some male dogs can be overly aggressive, especially when the other male dogs are encountered. The neutering process reduces these behaviors. It will reduce their aggressiveness seen in the dog over time without reducing their desire to be active and playful every day. It can reduce the mating urge. Now, dogs that are not neutered are more likely to sense a dog that is in heat, maybe somewhere around the neighborhood. The urge to mate is reduced once the neutering process has been completed. This means the desire to roam and expand territory is reduced or go looking for a mate that they can start mating with. It does not cause them to gain weight. Dogs that are neutered will usually be inactive than normal for up to 2 to 4 weeks after procedure. This is normal. It's part of the healing process as long as the dog receives a healthy diet and regular exercise. Now, it can reduce sexualized behaviors. Some male dogs are hypersexualized. You can see these behaviors that include leg humping and mounting or other dogs of either gender. Neutering can reduce these behaviors because it changes the urge to mate. For some dogs, the benefits here outweigh the potential disadvantages. Now, here are some cons you may want to consider, okay? It does not guarantee a change in behavior. Many dogs have learned behaviors that go beyond basic hormones. Some dogs may have learned to lift their leg to spray, so they keep doing that. It's their natural habits that they gain throughout life. Some dogs can be more aggressive. That does not mean all the aggression goes away or the training problems could go away. It is possible for undesired behaviors to disappear after the procedure, but it's not guaranteed. Like I said, every dog is different. Now, it could cause urinary incontinence. Although it doesn't happen often, there's a small risk that a neutering procedure could cause urinary incontinence for the dog. It happens when the surgery takes place before the bladder is fully developed. As the dog ages, the bladder muscles are weaker than they should be, which causes leakage. Now, it could change the texture of the dog's coat. Because neutering initiates a hormonal change for the dog, there can be some changes to the animal's physical characteristics over time. One of the most common changes that seems to happen is the change of the coat. Dogs that are neutered may have their coat growth patterns altered. The texture of their coat might change as well. This doesn't affect the overall health of the dog, but it could change the sensitivity to hot or cold temperatures. Another one, it affects the maturation process. Dogs that are neutered when they're young mature differently when compared to dogs which are allowed to remain intact. Some dogs may benefit from being neutered later in life. Some may be better off not being neutered at all. That is just a procedure should be discussed with a veterinarian before a final decision is made. It could affect the overall health of your pet for years to come, so it's something that you got to consider. It stops the breeding process. Some dogs may be candidates for contributing to a breed's gene pool. There's a lot of great dogs out there that have really healthy genes and they're very healthy and they have all the right tools to pass a health test, but if they're neutered, they cannot continue to better the breed. So obviously, when you neuter your dog, they cannot have any more kids. Now, these pros and cons are definitely something you want to consider when you're thinking about neutering your dog. Again, there's myths around it. It's not the end all be all for your behavioral problems. It's not something where you could just get it done and then all of a sudden all your problems go away. And I hope this brought value to you on making the final decision if you're thinking about neutering your dog. Now, after looking at all these pros and cons, leave a comment. Are you still considering neutering your dog or spaying your dog? I'm curious as to why. Like this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. I'm out.